Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to Bears on Film.
How are you, Billy?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. You know, back at work and getting back into the year. You know, it's always a little bit difficult. You know, less time to catch Pokemon.
Is this the first time we've ever recorded in the AM?
You know what? I think it probably is.
Yeah.
Feels pretty early.
If this is a train wreck, we'll just blame it on our body clocks.
I mean, you've had a coffee at least.
I've had two. I got up at 5:30 to watch sport.
I was also up at 5:30, but that's because I've got a toddler.
Drink. I haven't told you this, I've started a drinking game. And one of the things is anytime Billy mentions his child, you have to drink. So, well, it is in the AM, but rules are rules.
That's true. That's true. Get the shot glasses out, people.
What are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about a movie of my choice that you hadn't seen, Tremors.
Yep.
1990 absolute classic. Obviously, you'd heard about this movie.
Yeah, I knew about Tremors, and I'd long suspected that it was probably a bunch of fun.
I mean, had you not seen it because you weren't expecting it to be good?
No, I just hadn't seen it.
I know that you don't enjoy horrors. Are you a monster movie fan? Do you?
Yeah, I like monster things, and if I'm watching a horror, I love Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Like horror, gleeful horror films.
Yeah.
I like.
That have a sense of fun to them.
Yes.
Yeah. This is one of the movies that I credit with my entire life up to this point. This is I was like maybe between 8 and 10 when I saw this movie, and I don't think I'd be like working in film doing anything with this kind of stuff if it weren't for this movie.
That's a big call.
Yeah, this movie had a huge part of, and I was a huge monster movie fan. Like, I remember saving up to buy a VCR when I was like really young, save birthday money and shit for years, and I would like wait up till midnight to like tape, you know, like I remember taping The Blob from the 1950s. That movie's fucking terrible. It is so bad, but I was so excited to sit up and watch it and tape it. So this is just such a good movie. I've had a sinking feeling in my stomach ever since you watched it, because I'm almost 100% sure that you would have hated this movie.
But like, I mean, coming into this, you were, when you said, okay, let's do Tremors.
Yeah.
You were like, look, it's terrible, but
I mean, you know what? After we watch it, I don't think it is terrible. I think you know what, and it has spawned 4 sequels.
They're terrible though, aren't they?
A TV series. A 5th sequel is actually on the way this year, as well as a new TV series revival with Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon's coming back.
So you're not alone.
I'm not alone. This movie is beloved, as it should be. But I guess the question that I really have to ask is, did you enjoy this movie?
I did.
You did?
I did. Like, there's a lot about Tremors that is terrible, but it kind of, it's almost like it's almost one of those self-aware.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a bunch in it.
It's a complete throwback to all of those old classic monster movies.
And you can see actors kind of doing things in this film, and like they're aware. You can tell they're aware that like this is so dumb, but also it's really fun.
It's a really good movie. You know, so Kevin Bacon, he has come out saying that at the time he thought this was his career low. He's spoken about breaking down on the street, crying to his pregnant wife, shouting, "What am I doing?"
She's like, I'm pregnant. Yeah. Get your shit together. You boof rickety hoo, Kevin.
But I mean, right from the moment this movie starts, it is so much fun. It is, you know, they don't, like I say this quite often, they just don't make movies like this anymore.
Why don't you give us an overview of Tremors?
Okay, sure. So Tremors is a movie. It's very much a monster movie. You know, it's kind of in the vein of Jaws almost. Kevin Bacon is this guy named Val. His best friend Earl. They live in this ridiculously small town in Nevada. Is it population 13?
I think it's 14. I think 14.
A very, very, very small town. You could probably barely even call it a town.
Which it's generous use of the word town.
Yeah, which basically gets overrun with these underground monsters that they name graboids.
Like a schlocky version of the worms from Dune.
It's like very much like Dune. They're kind of like giant earthworms, and similar to Alien, they've got like smaller worms that come out of their mouths. And yeah, the film is just about the people in the town trying to survive. Die. And as well as the people in the town, there's this seismologist there, this very attractive lady seismologist, of course.
Well, who we're introduced to as a dorky seismologist because she's got
because
this
she's
stupid
got
hat on and zinc on her nose.
which makes you dorky.
Yeah.
You remember that from your saxophone playing days.
Absolutely. I still live it.
And yes, a lot of the movie is almost kind of trapped. It's almost one of those movies where the monsters themselves aren't. Like one of the first guy who dies in the movies dies of dehydration because he's stuck up an electric pole trying to hide from these worms. So a lot of the movie is like, they're trapped on rocks and stuff, and it's more about how to get away rather than how to kill the monsters.
Yeah.
What I also love about this movie is there's no explanation of where these worms came from. Are they dinosaurs? Are they aliens? It just doesn't matter. They're just monsters.
The characters kind of speculate on it for a little bit, but it's not a preoccupation of the movie. It's just...
Yeah. So in one of the later movies, they actually give them a scientific name.
Is that right?
Yeah, so they're not just graboids. I can't even remember what the name is, but it's ridiculous, of course.
Well, the monsters themselves are one of the things that I really liked about Tremors, because even though it's so... Like, they're basically... It's a Muppet trying to be scary. But
but the practical effects in this movie are pretty good. They hold up. They're not Jurassic Park level, but they're pretty good for a B movie.
The thing that's so good about it compared to CGI monsters is that with the graboids in this, when you've got like slime and stuff coming off them, it's so much fun and just this gross out thing that we're not there yet with. So you just can't do that with CGI yet.
Yeah, that's right. You can't. They're getting pretty good with CGI and visual effects, but things like the reflection on liquids and stuff like that is still... That's where you kind of sit into Uncanny Valley a bit. Whereas with something like this, where you've got an actual prop and it is slimy and of course it fits into the scene because it is actually there in the scene. They actually only built one full graboid. And apart from that, obviously, they just had the bits and pieces that pop out as they need to. The full one is the one when you see that big dead graboid. Mm-hmm. So that was all made of foam. They actually buried it, dug it up, buried it again, so that it would actually be all kind of dirty, like it had been living underground.
Yep.
Like, things like that they just don't really take the time to do that stuff anymore, especially for a B movie like this.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's talk about the design of these worms a bit. So they researched lots of different animals, not the earthworm. They thought it was too boring. So that was like one of the few animals that they didn't look at. And the original design was, how now it's kind of mouth opens up and little worms come out.
Yep.
So originally it was meant to have this kind of hard kind of shell, like a crab almost, that as it popped out of the ground, the shell would slide back, revealing a slimier worm inside. Looked way too much like a foreskin. So the entire crew and the designers just could not stop laughing at this thing. So they were like, no, we have to change the design of this. And that's where the kind of littler worms coming out came from. So it was originally quite different.
And they're quite key to the...
Yeah. It almost changed the whole story in a way just by changing the design. So when we decided to watch this, I did tell you that you really should watch at least one of the sequels as well before we record. I take it you didn't do that?
I have not done that yet.
Okay. They're bad.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon does not return, although Bert is the one recurring character in all of the Tremors films. And the worms evolve as well. So I believe it's the second or the third one, there are also flying monsters that are dubbed arse blasters because they kind of like fart their way into flying. So I mean, you really should check them out.
It sounds like some pretty highbrow stuff.
Definitely is.
My biggest gripe with the movie is the character of Melvin.
Right.
I was so keen for Melvin to die. Like early on, he laughs like Tommy Wiseau.
What a story, Topher.
And then, like, when he's up on his own little roof,
Yeah.
I was like, just come on, worms.
Yeah.
Get this guy. He's a little creeper.
Yeah.
I did not like him.
How great is that scene on the roofs, though?
Yeah, it's good.
Where they're all kind of, it just shows how small this town is. Like, it's very fun.
Yeah. And then you have this great 90s link to, depending on how you want to classify Jurassic Park, some people might say it's the greatest monster movie ever made.
Yeah, that's true. You could definitely call that a monster movie.
And you've got Lex from Jurassic Park in this.
Yes.
As the little pogo stick girl.
Yeah.
Made like 2 movies in her life, and in both ones she's just surviving
hiding
terrors.
From monsters. Yeah. I mean, look, Jurassic Park is fine, but once you've seen Tremors, you can't go back.
Unfair to compare anything to Tremors. And there's almost another little... There's something that Jurassic Park, you'd almost think they might have stolen it from Tremors. In Tremors, there is essentially the equivalent of it can't see us if we don't move.
Yeah, well, that's exactly true because it lives underground and it can only hear vibrations. Yeah.
Got no eyes like the...
So what you're saying is Jurassic Park ripped this off.
Blatantly. Stole plot points, stole an actor. They should probably be suing
Fuck you,
Spielberg and Crichton.
You know, fun fact about Jurassic Park, let's just diverge a little bit. So Spielberg actually optioned Jurassic Park before the book was finished. So Crichton was actually writing the novel and the screenplay at the same time, which I think is why it's such a good adaptation. Obviously very different.
Because, there wasn't a big gap, was there, between the novel and the film coming out?
They're very, very close because he was literally writing both together because Spielberg knew him and he said to him, look, I want this as a film. Yeah. So he wrote the book with the film in mind and wrote the screenplay at the same time.
Huh.
Yeah. Fun fact. Completely unrelated to Tremors.
Yeah.
So let's get back to Tremors. Was there anything apart from Melvin that you didn't like about this film?
There's a scene, one thing that kind of, I was going to say we've moved on from it. That's certainly not true. But like in this movie, there's no reason for the female lead to have no pants at one point.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, fun fact about that, too. They didn't rehearse that scene so that her embarrassment of depantsing in front of Kevin Bacon would be real. Yeah, which honestly, that poor actress. Yeah. Like, is this a Weinstein movie?
Yeah. It's like, she doesn't need to not have pants.
I know what you mean. And, you know, comparing again to Jurassic Park, that's one of the things that Jurassic Park did very well is that Laura Dern in that movie, you know, she's not just a sex object or anything. Which I don't think is too heavy in this movie, but the deep
it's true. And because she's like the smartest person in the film.
That's right. Yeah.
And then, but also
she has to take her pants off.
Gives you pants.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that part I was like, oh, really? One of the things that is a dislike of mine of horror films in general is that jump scares, while effective, they do what they're meant to do.
Yeah, they do.
I find them just a cheap thing.
It depends on how they're done,
and it was just the cat, no shit. Oh, and here's the actual monster. I'm like, fuck off. The jump scares in Tremors, like a lot of things in it, there's kind of a gleefulness to it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're there to... Like, you're not there to be scared when you watch Tremors.
Absolutely.
It is a horror movie in a lot of ways, but it is so much more fun than that. Which I think is one of the best things about this movie is the way that it blends the comedy and the horror. It's not a parody, but it kind of is taking such a delight in what it's doing that it just has a great sense of fun about it.
Yeah, which for me made it feel... It's in that Evil Dead category for me. It's delighting in what it's doing.
Yeah, it knows exactly what it is and it doesn't try to be anything. It's not pretending that it's Jaws. In fact, it's original. So Tremors is actually kind of a pretty smart name for it. Do you know what this film was originally called?
I do not.
Land Sharks. You know why they had to change it? Because SNL were already doing a parody of Jaws called Land Sharks. So they made them change it. Like, and honestly, I think that would be a completely different movie. Even just, but they say don't judge a book by its cover. But are you telling me that anybody is going to go see a movie called Land Sharks? It sounds like
Sharknado.
Yeah.
One little I don't know if it was whether it's an actual nod to it, but I do like at the end of the film when they're trucking along with that trailer thing on the back. It's very Mad Max Road Warrior.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a nod to it or if it's just stealing or just a coincidence, but it is a lot of fun. Just a bunch of people barreling into this thing with a shit ton of ammo. I don't know if I liked it just on its own or whether I was just like, yeah, Mad Max.
And, you know, we're definitely not alone in liking this movie. Even though Kevin Bacon thought this was his career low, almost as soon as it came out, it was hailed by critics. And it still It still holds 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie is fresh AF. Because, you know, and I think it goes back to what we were saying about it having a good sense of fun. Like, I don't think critics went into this expecting a master. You know, you're not going to rate this movie compared to The Room, which is brilliant, or Reindeer Games. You're not going to look at this and put this in the same bucket as Reindeer Games because nothing gets that level.
Reindeer Games has its own bucket.
You know, but I think people just had such fun with it that how can you give this a bad rating? Like, if you don't enjoy this movie, you just don't enjoy fun.
There's a bunch about this film that is not good. I mean, the dialogue is terrible.
Well, let's talk about the dialogue for a second. I think the dialogue's okay.
It's not.
Do you have any examples?
No. I've only watched it once.
I actually tend to really enjoy the dialogue. And what I think, did the creative use of non-swears stand out to you in any way? You know how they're, mother humper and
pardon my French.
Yeah. Do you know why that is? It was originally given an R rating just for language.
Really?
So they redubbed it. Most of the film is a redub, and I think it's one of the best ADR jobs I've ever seen. And they're replacing the swears with non-swears.
Nicely done.
To get it because, the MPAA, I don't know if it's still a rule, back then you were allowed one non-sexual use of fuck. So they get the one fuck in there. And apart from that, they overdouble the rest with, because I think it originally had like 35 or something fucks. So there's a lot of redubbing. And I think it's one of the best, you don't notice it. Going back to practical effects, I love, with movies like this, before you could do anything on computers, I love how much practical effects could actually change what the director is envisioning at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of opening scene where the couple, in the Jeep, and the Jeep kind of gets sucked down into the dirt. That's one of my favorite shots in film ever, that wide shot where you go back and you just see the headlights kind of disappearing down into the dirt. What he wanted was a close-up shot of the car sinking into this kind of visceral, earthy, mud, dirt type stuff. And they even got as far as to start filming that, but it kept solidifying. It kept drying up as the car was going in, so it wouldn't actually sink down. So they were like, oh, fuck it, we'll just go to a wide. But it's just these days, something like that wouldn't happen. Yeah. Because they just, we'll just fix it in post.
Yeah.
Just throw some blue on the ground and we'll...
Yeah, you don't get to get the happy accident anymore because you just fix it in post.
And what they've ended up with is such a... I love that shot where you just... To me, that opening scene really sets the tone for this movie. And you've got that wide shot of this desert landscape, nothing around, and just these headlights sinking down into the middle of nowhere. And it just really kind of... It's like an establishing shot. It just kind of tells you where you are and what's going on. And I just love that was a complete fluke. Just wouldn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
So I've passed this movie on to you. I've recommended it to you. Would you recommend this movie to someone else?
I would recommend it to people if I have an idea of their taste.
Yeah. Did you watch this alone, or did you sit down with your girlfriend and watch this?
Yeah, we watched it together.
What did she enjoy it?
I think so. We didn't actually discuss it.
Yeah.
We live mostly in silence. We just communicate with nods. Yeah, I think she was kind of into the gleefulness of it, even though there's a bunch about this film, like the acting, a lot, not all of the acting.
I mean, Kevin Bacon's outstanding.
Kevin Bacon can't help but be outstanding.
But there's a reason though that there are 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
Because he's not very picky and choosy with what he does, and I think this movie shows that.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that like Michael Caine with Jaws 2.
Yeah.
Was it Jaws 2? Which o's Michael Caine in?
I can't remember, but
where Michael Caine, like I've heard him say before, I've never seen it, but I like the house it paid for. It's a job.
Yep. But see, I think most of the cast in this is pretty good.
Well, I don't agree with that. And I don't know how, it's pretty hard to make a scream from a terrifying Muppet work. But at large, and like the people in the shop together, the all the ethnic minorities grouped together there, like some of them are terrible.
Yeah, but hey, great diversity in casting.
Yeah, ahead of its time there.
Definitely,
well, except for the fact that then, because you're just like, well, you're only here to die.
That's right.
And yes, indeed. It is only white people that make it out.
Yeah, that's true. And you're a stereotypical Asian whose character's name is Walter Chang.
Yes.
Although, he came up with that name himself, the actor. He did. It was originally meant to be a Japanese character. Again, some kind of stereotypically racist character. And then they cast a Chinese guy instead, and he was like, well, let's at least give me a Chinese name.
And he, of course, went on to glory with 3 Ninjas.
Oh, that's right. I mean, there's no Oscar nominations here, but the Oscars are rigged anyway.
I don't know how you would have gone about assembling a really great cast for this movie.
For a movie that was originally called Land Sharks.
Imagine
that casting call.
You're not getting Meryl Streep.
No, but they did get Reba McEntire in her first acting role.
Yeah. So she was probably inundated with opportunities for feature films at this point.
Didn't she get a sitcom after this? Didn't she actually have
There was a show. It was called Reba, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm sure that some executive was like, you know what, this movie's amazing.
Yep.
I bet that sitcom was originally a Tremors spin-off.
I'm sure you're right.
Because
it was going to be Reba, just armed to the hilt.
Yep.
Walking around, killing monsters.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along in development hell, it got spat out as whatever Reba is. I've never seen Reba.
No, me neither. It's probably about a country singer. It's probably like Nashville.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, after seeing this, though, are you going to go and watch the sequels?
No.
None of them. Not even the
Maybe
second
I
one.
would watch 2 if I was like pretty drunk and just up late at night by myself. I'd be like, you know what would be funny?
Okay, are you going to watch the new Kevin Bacon series?
Oh, it's a series, is it?
They're doing a new movie sequel which comes out this year, and as well as that, Kevin Bacon is actually producing and I believe starring in a new series on the Sci-Fi Network.
I'd probably watch that.
Yes, yes, we should watch it together.
Like, I actually really like Kevin. I think Kevin Bacon is actually like pretty wicked talented. Like, love him in A Few Good Men. I haven't seen The Woodsman from...
No, I haven't.
That's like early this century. That's like turn of the century-ish, isn't it?
Yeah.
But people went nuts for him.
What
in
was
that.
it? Was Stir of Echoes as well? Did you see that one?
I actually liked Stir of Echoes.
That. I thought that was.
I wasn't
good.
expecting to.
The other one, Hollow Man. Did you see Hollow Man?
No.
That was another one that kind of got panned a little, but I thought was pretty good, and he was good in it. Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm not going to say if Kevin Bacon's in a movie, I'll go see it because then there'll be too many movies to watch.
I've never seen Footloose.
No, me neither.
And I don't feel bad about it.
No, me neither. I just don't really care.
No.
Although it does have John Lithgow in it. And as I've said on this podcast before, I think he's an excellent villain.
Your man John.
Yeah.
Oh, is he the is he the fun police?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's
Right.
Kevin Bacon's dad who's like, no dancing.
Give me back my son.
I mean, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Or, like,
Do you reckon it turns out that John Lithgow's character actually loves dancing and was always suppressing it?
oh, like maybe he like failed in a talent show as a youth or something, and he's been angry at dancers ever since.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd watch that movie.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Well, I mean, they just remade it, so we'll give it another 15 years, and then we'll make that
Wait,
version.
when you say they just remade it, do you mean that the remake has already come out?
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Oh shit, I'm behind.
Let me
the
check
times.
this.
I knew that was happening.
Let me check this. Oh, it's a bit longer ago than I thought. It was 2011.
Oh shit! So
Was the
that's
remake.
ancient now.
Yeah.
In
I think
my
it's
head-
time. It's
in my
time.
head I
We
was
can,
like,
we can release another one now.
Yeah, we could do
It's been
that.
long enough.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man. You just
Yeah.
start again.
Was that Zac Efron?
It was Kenny Wormold.
I have no
Whoever that
idea
is.
who that is.
Um,
But Kenny Wormold, if you're listening to this, big fan.
Miles Teller's in it. Dennis Quaid's in it.
Is he the John Lithgow character?
I suspect so, but I don't know so because I haven't and shan't see it.
We've spent a long time now talking about Footloose.
A film that neither of us has seen.
So, if you want two people whose finger is firmly on the pulse, this is the show for you. If you want to hear two guys who have never seen Footloose talk about the remake for 5 minutes,
We'll do a full episode on it.
Oh, let's do
Not
it.
having seen it,
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
we won't watch it.
You know what I actually thought would be fun? Watch a trailer for something and then theorize what happens in the movie and then see how close we are. I thought that could be fun.
Go full Star Wars, because everyone did that with Last Jedi. Everyone does that with every Star Wars.
just do that. Just
Yeah.
watch a trailer and then see if we can guess what's going to happen.
John Lithgow pops up and kills something.
He didn't even know that we're filming.
No. He was just there,
Yeah.
indiscriminately murdering.
Yep. Like Jared Leto in most films he's in. I don't believe he ever knows he's in a film. I think he just pops onto set being a sex pest and they're like, oh, well, we'll just keep rolling.
On the weekend, I watched Panic Room for the first time in... I actually reckon it was the first time since
I
since
haven't
it
seen
came
that
out.
in a very long time.
And
I haven't seen that since before I knew who Kristen Stewart really was.
Yeah, man,
So,
I loved it in that movie when Jared Leto gets shot in the head.
yeah.
Loved it. Hello to Jared if you're listening.
All right, so let's get down to business then.
Yep.
At the end of the day, Tremors.
Yep.
I'm not going to pretend I think it's a perfect movie. Yes, I recommended it. I love so much about this movie, and as I said, I don't think I'd be doing what I do without this movie. But I'm not delusional. For me, this movie is an 8. It is just wonderful, but far from perfect. But if you haven't seen it, you should really watch it. And even if you have seen it, just go watch it again because I promise you're going to have a good time. What's your kind of final?
I'm on a 6.
A 6?
Yeah, it's a positive. That's a positive.
That's like barely above average.
You're saying, like, you're touting its Rotten Tomato scores.
Yeah.
If I'm reviewing it, I'm part of the 85%. That's the thing that is stupid about Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, you're right. That is one of the dumb things about Rotten Tomatoes, its rating system.
Yeah, like the sheer fun and gleefulness of this film makes it a positive score for me.
Yeah.
But let's not pretend that there's a bunch about the quality of this film that...
Yeah. Okay, so are there any other monster movies that you've kind of watched in the past kind of 10 years?
do you count Alien films as monster movies?
Yeah, I'd count the.
So
Alien
you got
films.
the new Aliens,
All right,
which
so
I
I
actually
guess-
like more than most people.
Yeah, I enjoyed Covenant.
What are the monster things? You've got, what was the J.J. Abrams one?
Super 8.
Super 8?
Yeah, I think as far as monster movies go, okay, I guess when you start adding Alien and Jurassic Park and stuff in, yes, there are far, far, far better movies than this. But do any of them have this kind of fun in them?
No.
No. They just, I mean, Jurassic Park is getting close. Jurassic Park is a very thrilling... I would call Jurassic Park an adventure more than a monster movie. But, yeah, I guess if you're just talking about big things chasing little things, monster movie.
Yeah, because you think going back to the 90s again, like The Ghost in the Darkness is essentially a monster movie, but the monsters are real.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, sort of the same thing. They're in some way based in reality, even though, spoiler alert, dinosaurs aren't back.
Well, I mean, even this to an extent, it's not like they ever try to claim they're aliens. These could be dinosaurs. There could be things like this.
We don't know what's down there.
We don't know what's down there. We don't dig everywhere.
Look at the stuff that,
we dig a lot of places. If you haven't seen Tremors, go see it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of terrible, but that's actually kind of what's fun about it.
That's its charm.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Yeah.
I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for us this week. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do that at bearsonfilmmailbag@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at Bears on Film Podcast, Instagram at Bears on Film Podcast, Twitter at Bears on Film Pod, and you can find us at bearsonfilm.net.
True fact.
Yep.
I've been in the website.
Have you?
Yeah.
Good website. You should bookmark it.
Don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Catches.